Can you hear it with your ears? Can you see it with your eyes? Can you feel it wiggling between your quivering thighs? That thing with James. Once every millennium something will come along. When you feel it you will know it, 'cause it's coming on strong. That thing with James. Sit back, relax, deep breaths, no stress. Let me come inside your mind. I promise you it won't take long, the change will happen soon. You will feel something so special growing deep within you. That thing with James. That thing with James. That's me. Resonance, emotion, music. That's what it's all about, yeah? Alright, hold on a minute. Hold on. Got to get situated. Hold on. Yar. Yeah, that ought to do it, yeah. Adjusted the volume. Welcome to episode 40 of That Thing with James J. Archer II. Well, I'm your host, James J. Archer II. That's me, innit? You may have noticed, my voice sounds a bit different than usual. That's because I'm a pirate, because this is the 40th episode of That Thing, and that means that this is the special Halloween episode. Happy Halloween to you and to yours. May your children not get cavities from eating all the candy and all that stuff, right? Now, if you look behind me, if you're watching, you'll know that I've got a fucking skull crossbones flag behind me, right? But if you're a listener, and if you've never seen this show, which is, there's a video portion available. It's 2019. If you haven't seen it, the fuck are you doing, Well, anyway, there's a video portion. But for you listeners, you may be a bit confused by my vaguely, utterly fluctuating, utterly butchered, general lower class English accent. The reason I'm doing it is because I'm in character. Because, well, I'm a pirate right now. Because, well, this is a Halloween episode, right? So I figure, I'll be a pirate for this Halloween holiday because, it's my favorite holiday in the year. Out of all 365 days in the year, although not really sure of what happens on a leap year, I really have no idea what a leap year is. All I know is that, people born on a leap year, they can be 40 years old, but really, in terms of a leap year, they're only 8. Like, how the fuck does that work? And you meet someone who's like born on a leap year and they tell you this stuff. And, you know, I just never could wrap my head around it. I remember, I had this acquaintance in junior high. This dude who was born on a leap year, and, you know, it was a usual talking point of his. Like, that was the interesting thing about him was he was born on a leap year, and I never fucking got it. Something to do with February or something like that. Well, anyway, this dude in junior high, that was his interesting thing. He was born on a leap year. That, and he could lactate. Oh, shit you not, mate. He fucking lactated. We were standing round in the fucking makeshift yard outside of this like old, it should have been condemned building where I went to junior high. It was all brick. And then it was like asphalt outside, like a 11 by 11 strip of asphalt next to a fucking road, no fence or anything. And kids are just standing around. And I'm talking to my friend who was born on a leap year, and he tells me he can lactate. And I say, bullshit. And he says, no, for real, mate, I can lactate. And he lifts up his t-shirt, squeezes his nipple. Lo and behold, a drop of milk manifests on the tip of his nipple. Oh, shit you not, that really happened. Some fucking junior high kid. Born on a fucking leap year, could lactate. If he squeezed his nipple, who knows? Maybe it was just like a zit. Maybe he just like squeezed some pus. Maybe he's got like some kind of, benign cystic nipple. Well, I don't know. Anyway, this episode's about Halloween. For you listeners, I'm dressed up like a pirate, vaguely. I'm dressed up like a vaguely pirate-like character, wearing completely anachronistic clothing. I've got some kind of frilly sort of like Seinfeld kind of shirt, but it's a little bit more period, a little bit more like historic than the Seinfeld shirt, the frilly shirt. You know that episode. If you don't, you're missing out on culture and you're doing fucking life wrong. Get yourself together and watch Seinfeld, right? Okay, so I'm wearing this shirt, and it's kind of open at the chest, and it's got this cheapo string with like some grommets going to lace it up, this portion showing my chest hair, my ample chest hair. And it's got like the frilly stuff around the cravat area. I'm not really sure what the cravat is, but that word just came out. And like around like the cuff, the hand cuff of the sleeve, there's some frilliness and a couple more straps of fabric to tie up if you want to be fancy. But I'm a pirate, so I'm leaving it undone because I live a life of leisure and violence as a pirate. I'm also wearing a vest. I'm not really sure. It's like some kind of cheap pinstripe thing I got at a vintage shop for $13 American. And I'm wearing a $8 bowler hat that I got at this store called The Bazaar. I'll probably talk more about that place later, just because I got a lot to say about it. Well, not really a lot, but I got stuff to say about it. And, now's not really the time, is it? But I'm wearing this bowler hat, and, it's not fucking plastic, but it's still pretty cheap. But it looks pretty good for being cheap. I couldn't bring myself to spend $80 on the reasonably decent, real-ish bowler hat that they had at the bazaar. Just because, well, I'm cheap, and at the time I saw it, I was a bit strapped for cash, so I figured maybe spending $80 on a reasonably decent, some kind of like felt, like actual fabric type bowler hat might not be the most responsible use of my money. However, I can tell you that there is a way for you to responsibly spend your money, and you don't have to spend a lot of it. It's called my Patreon. If you want to donate to this show, help support it, show your appreciation, help me, keep bringing good stuff your way, you can donate as little. I'm talking as little as $1 a month. That's like, you throw that away. You wipe your ass with $1, right? I mean, this is America. Everyone's rich here, right? You got $1 to spare. You give it to the homeless. Why not give it to me, I'm technically squatting in this apartment, but, I'm doing this, right? It's entertaining you, right? Right. It's entertaining. So, you can donate as little as $1, or if you want, I made an option. You can donate $15,000 if you got it, but, no pressure. You can do $1. It may be little to you, but it's fucking massive to me, mate. So you can donate at patreon.com/thatthingwithjames. 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 And I'd also like to extend a special thank you to Josh and Wade for donating to the show for quite a long time. You too. You guys, you are good cunts. Yeah. See, where I'm from, I being the character, to call someone a good cunt is a compliment. As a matter of fact, it's a high compliment that you say to someone, it's a cunt. This is a well-read person, and you're a good one. So you're a gentleman and a scholar, and I appreciate your donations, right? Okay. What else? If you want to find me on this like social media thing called there's Instagram, I'm on there, and there's Twitter at fucking cesspool. You can find me on those places. My handle is at James J. Asher. At the @ sign JamesJasher. At James J. Asher at Instagram and the cesspool that is Twitter. I've also got a website, jamesjasher.com. You go there if you want. Or what else? I feel like I'm missing something. So I say you can donate. I directed you to the social media. I've got a website. And what else? Yeah. Oh yeah. If you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed to my my podcast channel, please subscribe, rate, and review. And for you watching, you YouTubers, you can, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and like the videos you like, write a comment, and for all of you, share the show with your friends. Why? Well, please. Because, I just said please. I asked nicely, right? So, you want to do a favor to someone bringing you entertainment, you can do that. How are my levels? I don't wear headphones while I do this, so I don't really know what my levels are all the time. I'm talking about the volume. Hopefully this sounds good. I'm sure you can probably hear me. I'm loud as hell. Oh, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, this episode's about Halloween. Halloween. What is Halloween? Well, I'll tell you. Halloween is a marketing scheme, isn't it? It's all about, spending your money, going to the movie, watching some Stephen King horror movie. Well, that massive ego can't even bring himself to say, that he is a horror author. He says, oh, he's a suspense novelist because he writes suspense because it's higher than horror. Well, Mr. King, I can tell you, as a pirate, I know horror when I see it because I've been the cause of massive horrors. You should have seen the shit that I had to clean up. One time, my Kiwi roommate, like my first few months here in Austin, she took a massive dump in the toilet and clogged it up, and she walked out. I'm sitting on the couch, joint hanging out of my lips. I'm watching cartoons, minding my own business. She walks by with this scowl on her face and says, the toilet's clogged. I'm not fucking dealing with it. And she walks out. And I just sit there stunned, like, really? You just said that to me? You're fucking leaving me with this? So I go into the bathroom to see what kind of damage is there. It's a fucking horror show. I'm telling you. Straight up loose shit, solid shit, invisible shit, imaginary shit, all too real shit, piled up to the rim. How did it get so fucking full? Well, I guess because she tried to flush it, and the tank flooded the bowl full of water, and it just mixed and broke up the shit matter that was already there, and filled it up with just this stew of mess. And fortunately, we had a plunger, because I bought one. She certainly wasn't going to buy one. She said she wasn't going to fucking deal with the mess in the toilet. She walked right out, mate. So I had to fucking deal with it. It was disgusting. I plunged the fucking thing. And then I threw out that plunger because there was shit, matter, and piss water like 2/3 up the way the wooden handle. I couldn't use that for a peg leg, could I? I'd stink, right? So I plunged that thing and it flushed. So you want to talk about horror? Well, I've dealt with it firsthand. You wipe, you get a little bit on your thumb. Well, that's unrelated, but, that's pretty horrible, right? So, Mr. King, yeah, I'm calling you out. Suspense? Well, I'll show you suspense. As a matter of fact, you're about to experience suspense because I'm going to take a quick break, all right? Because, I got to get myself together. Got to figure out what the hell I'm going to talk about because, well, this is a Halloween episode, not Halloween. I'm obviously a legitimate pirate from, pirate times in England. I sailed out of Bristol, right? So, I got to figure out what I'm going to talk about because this show's about Halloween. Get it right. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back. It's going to be about like 10 minutes for me, but for you, it's going to be like a snap. It's going to be like a moment. Less than that. It's going to be like half a snap and we'll be right back. Okay? Bye. Okay. Be right back. Okay. I'm back. Now, let me address something. If you're listening, you're really missing out. But if you're watching, you may be wondering about this eye patch. I don't really need it. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get it at a Halloween costume store. I got it at CVS. I went there yesterday to get a prescription filled, and I knew that they had eye patches there. Don't ask me why I knew that, but I just knew it. So I asked one of the workers where I can find the eye patch. She leads me right to it. I see this black eye patch, and I say, that's it. That thing's got my name on it. So I put it on because, well, I'm a pirate. Now, the thing about eye patches is, even if you don't really need them, they're pretty useful if you're living on a pirate ship. That's because if you're traveling from below the deck to on top of the deck, you're going to get blinded because you're out on the waters, hopefully somewhere in the Caribbean, and, you know, it's bright and sunny there, right? And if you just walk out of this dark area, lit maybe by some candles, maybe some lanterns, how the fuck am I supposed to say that word? Lanterns, you know, torches beneath the deck. You know, it's pretty dim down there. So if you just walk up, and you're going to get blinded by the sun, blinded by the light, revved up like a douche, another runner in the night. Right, that's a New Jersey pirate song. If you're wearing an eye patch on one eye, when you travel from below deck to on top of deck on a bright sunny day, all you have to do is switch the patch over to the eye that was exposed below deck. That way, your eye that was covered doesn't even need to adjust. Same goes for traveling from the bright top of the deck down to the dim below the deck area, and you can just switch the patch over to the other eye because the eye's already adjusted to the darkness. And now that I say that, I wonder if your eye patch is already adjusted, eye is already adjusted to the darkness, and you travel up to the light, aren't you going to get blinded anyway? Okay, so maybe it's just useful for traveling below deck. But, if you got to do that, you got to do that, and, it can help to have an eye patch. Or if you just, you kind of, self-conscious about one of your eyes, you can wear an eye patch. Or, if you're a pirate like me, you just wear an eye patch. Now, let's talk about Halloween. As I believe I mentioned in the last block of time, Halloween is my favorite holiday in the entire year. Now, here's why. Costumes, parties, creepy stuff, right? That's what I love about Halloween. As a former goth, well, I guess I am still pretty goth, even though I don't wear like black fishnet shirts and, eyeliner. Well, I've still got it in my heart. I've still got that love for the gothic, for the dark, for the macabre, as the French would say. I love that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not entirely keen on horror movies, I'll be honest. Mostly, I do like really good movies. Sometimes a really good movie happens to be a horror, like The Shining, one of my favorite films of all time. Phenomenal, that flick. But, stuff like Saw, just gory things with a bunch of jump scares. I'm not too keen on those types of films, just because, I don't know, it just kind of grosses me out. I call it violence porn. It's just a bunch of needless, gore, zoom in on some fucking eye getting sliced open. The only time that's appropriate if it's like that Un Chien d'Andalou or whatever that movie's called. Well, I saw it in college. That's where people see that kind of thing, unless they're really hoity-toity, I suppose. Or, well, it's a cool movie. It's a silent film, and a dude gets his eyeball sliced with a straight razor. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. Un chien andalou or something like along those lines, right? Now, and also like, so going back to Halloween, you get to wear costumes and you get to play like a character, and that's just generally what I like to do with my days. Dress up and play character. Not that I usually dress up, but, if there's something funky lying around, I'll put it on, and I'm always like just doing whatever, just characters. No, it's not like I can't stand being myself. I actually quite like myself, and I don't mind being myself. But a large part of who I am is someone who likes to do like funny voices and do different characters and just kind of generally mess with people in an innocent sort of way, not doing anyone harm, just having a bit of fun. Why not? There's really no, like I've said this before, there's no inherent like meaning or purpose to life. We just happen to be some element of order that popped out of a stew of chaos. So we're the anomaly already in that, we have order that, came out of chaos. And, evolution, blah, blah, blah. And then, we're all run by DNA, right? And, I'm reading this science book by this pretty smart dude who writes in this book, he poses science in a way that's palatable for someone who's more like liberal arts minded, such as myself, as opposed to like a scientific engineering type with horrible interpersonal skills. Oh, this guy's name's Bill Bryson, phenomenal writer. You should take notes, Stephen King. Read some Bill Bryson. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say that. That was rude. Anyway, Bill Bryson, I was just reading this section about DNA, and basically humans and whatever else that exists that has DNA simply exists to procreate more DNA. So like orgasms are basically just a reward system propagated by DNA. Like all this function, all this meaning you apply to your life, that's just sort of superfluous. Because really, your purpose is to just make more DNA. And that seems to be, other than, like coding our bodies to behave in certain ways, other than that, the only real, purpose, the only real function behind DNA is just to create more DNA. That's why we have this urge to procreate, because we're being controlled by these little double helixes found by a ragtag group of scientists who really didn't know a whole lot about biology, but they figured it out, despite their many, many dramas with one another. You just exist to make more DNA. So, like I said, orgasms are just basically a reward system, like your Pavlov's dog, right? And the DNA is Pavlov, the scientist, and it's saying, if you want to feel good, you can like jizz into that person or have that person jizz into you, and you'll feel good. But the reason it feels good is a reason that they don't really tell you, they being your strands of DNA in you. It's a scheming way of spreading itself around. Now maybe Halloween is a good time to spread more DNA, because people like to party and people like to fuck, right? And people like to dress up and role play, right? And people like to use suspension gears, right? And people like to, do a bit of blood play, right? Melt wax candle, like a red candle you get from the religious section at the local grocery store. and you melt the wax and you pour it on somebody. And, you know, at first it's a bit of a shock of like heat, but it quickly cools and then dries up. And, you know, it's a bit of a thrill. So I've heard. And you can like handcuff people and whip them and stuff. And then you can spread your DNA on them. And, you know, that's the Halloween that I love, you know, dressed up, you know, fucking Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and, you know, the Joker or somebody, you know, you dress up, have a little gangbang, spread your DNA, you're doing, you know, your function. And then you can go apply your own meaning, like, oh, I'm going to save the fucking planet. Like, yeah, well, maybe, if DNA lets you. Well, Halloween is fun because you get to dress up. And if you're a kid, you get to run around town and, oh, there's all this, like, everything's kind of like creepy looking, hopefully. Maybe your neighbors aren't total fucking tools. Maybe your neighbors actually put up some Halloween decor. You know, I usually go about getting a bit more Halloween decor for my place, but I just haven't gotten around to it this year. And that's okay because it's like Halloween every day in my head. So it's already pretty like funky, Halloweeny in this place like all the time. I mean, it's not like I'm some fucking Midwestern, like 25-year-old, you know, goth girl with like Jack Skellington stuff all over the place and, you know, scratching my record, so to speak, to like every Johnny Depp movie ever. You know, and it's not like that, but I just happen to have a pirate flag up because, well, it covers up this ugly window here. And you know, I have a pirate flag and pirates are pretty cool. I mean, I've even got like an anchor tattoo on my arm here. Let me see if I can pull it out for the people watching. Hold on, I'm pretty sure I showed it before. Rolling up the sleeve. There. Can you see it? Right there. Right there. That's because, you know, like pirate stuff's pretty cool. You know, I like the aesthetic. I like the idea of, you know, like swashbuckling. Whatever. What is a swashbuckle? Like, what's a swash? Is that like a squash? What's a swash? Like, I know a buckle. Like, maybe they had those buckles on their shoes, like the pilgrims. You know, there's pirates that wear the pump shoes with the buckle on them. But I'm more of like a 1800s type pirate, I would suppose. Or for those of you educated, you know, like 19th century type pirate, because I'm wearing a bowler hat. I don't know if they existed, the type I'm playing. I mean, the shirt I'm wearing certainly is more, possibly, more 18th century. That would be 1700s for you Americans who don't know anything. You know, I'm wearing this. I don't know if pirates existed then, but the type of pirate I'm playing, I'm sure pirates existed. They still exist, you know, like Somalian pirates. Anyway, Halloween's pretty cool. I love it. There's a bunch of reasons. I could write about it. I could do a whole episode about it, but I'm just kind of on a roll right now. And I feel like if I went down that path, it would just fuck up the whole flow. Now, maybe you're wondering, why am I talking more kind of like a chav, maybe? Or more like a general sort of like northern-ish England area? Like butchering the accent. I'm absolutely sure I'm butchering it. But the reason I'm talking like that, yar, and not like this the whole time, like that stereotypical pirate voice, is because, well, it's murder on the throat, right? So why would I want to murder my throat if I'm going to be talking the whole time? Because that's what I do. I play characters. I dress up like, you know, and I talk. That's what I do. That's my function. That's what I'm made for, to just dress up and play pretend and, you know, make up characters and have fun. That's what I do. You know, I know that. That's who I am. And so, you know, That's part of why I love Halloween. You know, and people wear these masks on Halloween and they act out and they go have fun. They go get drunk at the bar, at the parties or whatever. And, you know, they kind of act out, but they feel liberated when they're wearing the mask, the proverbial mask, you know, putting on a costume. The thing I love about that, you know, I've got an idea about this, is that when people put on the mask, and they feel liberated, you know, like a masquerade. People would have rages back in the day with the masquerade. It's because when you put on that mask is the real you. Or at least with the, you know, security of that mask, the security of what you fear for your identity, you fear for your ego to be, you know, scrutinized by other egos. So you wear this mask and you create this quote unquote like alternate ego, but that's the real you, you know? You're going out, you're cutting loose, you feel liberated. That's the real you, not the reserved person who, like when you take off the mask and you have all these regrets and everything. That's not really the real you. That's just your like cultural, you know, imprint in action. You know, that's not the real you. So it's Halloween. Put on a mask. Go feel liberated. Have a good time. That's a huge reason why I love Halloween. But, you know, like I said, I like the gothic stuff too. So I want to read something very special to you. Edgar Allan Poe. He was a fantastic, like gothic writer from America. Like he got his heyday. Well, he was pretty poor, but you know, he gained fame when he was living in Baltimore, Maryland. And I want to read a short poem to you. I believe it's called Annabel Lee, for the spirit of Halloween and for my love of Edgar Allan Poe. So give me just a second. Yeah, okay. Okay, hold on. How are my levels? Looking good? Yeah, okay. I'm going to read a bit of Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Let's see here. Pages it's been closed a long time, so the pages are a bit stuck. Let's see here. Finger, verb 1, synonym. Touch 1, feel, handle, palpate, paw, designate, appoint, make, name, nominate, tap, identify, determinate, diagnose. Wait a second. Finicky, finish. What is it? Oh. Turns out I'm reading from a thesaurus, Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Thesaurus. My bad. Oh, bear with me. Oh, here it is. The Essential Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. I've got the page marked with the cloth that I used to blow my nose in because it was handy. And I'm a handy kind of guy. All right, here we go. Annabel Lee. Oh, wait. He's American. I should read this in an American accent because he's an American writer, you know, and there's some like old videos where they, you know, reenact some Edgar Allan Poe tale and they've got like an English accent, and it's not right, mate. It ain't right. He's American. So I'm going to do my American accent to the best of my abilities while I read this story to you. All right, here we go. Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea. That maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabelle Lee. With a love that winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. Oh boy, that is just a real tragedy, isn't it? The wind killed her? Let's keep reading, shall we? But our love was, wait. It's hard to read with an eye patch. Let me flip it up real quick, because I'm having a difficulty reading. Oh my goodness. Good golly. I tell you what. It sure is a shock to the vision to have both eyes after you've put an eye patch over one, I tell ya. Okay, here we go. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon that never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, and her tomb by the sounding sea. Wow. So let me get this. Wait, alright, fuck that. I'm done reading. American accent is hard. So what's going on with this story, huh? So I don't quite know. Like, all right, he's in a tomb by the sea. His deer died. A wind blew in. The old people didn't really get them. Oh, wait a second. Wait, so was he like in love with this bird and she like died from the wind? Like a cold wind came in and like she died, right? And then, so they put her in a tomb by the sea, right? Right. And this guy, whoever the narrator is, he's still in love with her. Her name's Annabelle Lee. And he goes and lies with her. Probably fucks the corpse, I imagine. Bit of necrophilia. And maybe he's like, just like a fucking Romeo and Juliet type with a fucking corpse. And he's like, you old people don't understand my love. You don't know what love really is. I'm like 13 and hormonal, and I love this corpse. Like, at least once a day, I go and love it. And you're standing there judging me in your fucking thatch roof with your fucking mortgage on it. And you're like trying to judge me for, still loving the body of my like former, love. Where do you get off? Where do you get off? I'm going to take a quick break, all right? I'm going to be right back. I'm back. I was thinking maybe I should, say a bit about the history of Halloween. Well, you see, I know the history. It's about like demons, right? You know, you got to get the demons out. You got to, you know, scare the demons away. It's an old tradition. You know, people, you know, trying to scare the demons away from them. You know, that's why they used to do like bloodletting. You know, doctors would come with their leeches and their razors and their fucking vipers, and, you know, they'd, you know, split your flesh and let you drip out your life water. And, you know, the bloodletting, it was to get the demons out of you, right? You got, you know, if you're ill, it means you got some demons in your blood. So they got to let the blood out so the demons can get out, you know, the demon infected blood. Like, that's what Halloween's about, right? Halloween is about like, get this. When I was in grad school, I had these two mutual friends, and one night, you know, they decide they want to go and get a little freaky, and they, you know, it got a little more freaky than the male was expecting. It was a male and female, you know, friends of mine, and they were friends, you know, sort of thing. And, well, the bird, like, started performing fellatio on the guy, and he was into it until she screamed on his gherkin. Well, yeah, I'll repeat it. She screamed on his gherkin. See, she got like the tip down to like the throat. The throat, I should say, not the throat, the throat. And I feel like I got this hair stuck on my fingers. Well, she got the tip down to the throat, and she just started like screaming on it. And I imagine, you know, his toes probably curled. Like, his DNA was like, that's it. Get the DNA seed out. Like, this is it. This is the right vibrations. But mate, you know, the guy, he, you know, understandably so, got a bit freaked out. He wasn't expecting her to like scream on his gherkin, like throat deep. And, well, she did it throat deep. And I imagine it feels pretty good, you know, vibrations on certain organs. Well, but he was just like so freaked out by it, man. And he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't just go with, you know, the vibrations of the screaming on his gherkin. And, you know, that was the demon. That was the demon in him. The demon said, no, this ain't right, mate. You know, you got someone screaming on you, and, you know, it ain't right. So you got to be freaked out by it, and you got to leave, and you got to tell your friend James about it, you know, through third parties, because you tell other people, because you're not really that great of a friend anyway. But, you know, I ended up hearing through third parties, and then from the first party, like both sides of the first party, and she was like, the gal was like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I own it. I think it was fucking great. And I said, you know, if I'd let that happen to me. That sounds like an okay sort of experience. But the guy, he's all freaked out about it. Like, maybe just like get over yourself, mate. Someone screamed on you. At least you were getting like fellatio, mate. You know? Enjoy it. You know, that's your fucking DNA in action right there. That's what Halloween's about. Fucking DNA, spreading that, you know, getting screamed on, and, you know, not getting freaked out, because that's like the demons, and Halloween's all about keeping the demons away. And that's why we like dress up scary and stuff, because it was like old times when, you know, people like beat rocks together to, I guess, like, I don't know, they didn't have fucking brains, so they just start beating rocks together. That's all they got to do. Beat rocks together and like shit themselves. Well, you know, they would like get these gourds, They wouldn't really use pumpkins. I know this because I watched a YouTube video about it a while back. Well, they would get these gourds and like carve these cute little faces on them, so kawaii, and put a little candle in there. But candles were really expensive, like wax and all, bee stuff, beekeepers, that sort of thing was that was a real treat back then. So what they made candles out of was like, they get like some lard or something from like a stew, like, floats up to the top, bit of like tallow or something. And, they fold it up into some sort of weird shape because they don't understand shapes. They're just like beating rocks together and going, blah, 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 blah. We don't understand anything. Whoa. Like feudal systems, that sort of thing. Halloween, they would make the, candle out of like lard and stuff. And they'd use like a bit of like lint or maybe some hair to make like a wick, and they'd just stick it in the top and set it on fire. So you got like a burning gourd. And, the people would make like a bonfire out of, I don't know, like books or something, anything that's not a Bible. And, they'd set that shit on fire, like illegitimate children go in there and they say, we don't need this anymore. They're good kindling, this one. And, they'd make a bonfire and, they'd dress up, maybe like wear some masks, and they'd get, just ripped, just fucking 3 sheets to the wind, just utterly pissed. For you Americans, that means drunk. They would get drunk and dance around the bonfire, banging on pots and pans and staying up all night because like the demons were going to come like the night before All Saints Day, because that's like a holy day, because, saints do really wicked, sick shit to be sanctified. Like one dude like ate worms, and so he's made a saint, because Catholicism makes a whole lot of sense that way. Saints, they do really gross shit, and say like, I do this for God, I do this for my faith, I'm eating worms because I live in a fucking dungeon. And, I'm not going to take their food. Like, they're offering me stuff. They say I've got a real problem. They're like, Joe, why are you eating worms, mate? Like, earthworms are like, they're gross and wiggly, man. We're like offering you fucking shepherd's pie, Just eat some real food. Quit eating worms, Joe. But Joe was like, nah, man, I ain't taking your shit because, you ain't right. And reasons you got me in this here dungeon is not a good reason anyway. And so I'm just going to eat these worms because, screw you guys. All I need is like my faith, my belief, and I won't accept your like whatever. I'm just going to eat worms. And so then he died, from, I wonder what like a worm diet shit would look like. I imagine pretty mushy. Well, like he died, and then I guess like, I don't know, like 300 years later, some like pope, some like bishop or something hears about this story and they're like, oh man, that guy's badass. Let's make him a saint. And we're going to teach little kids about it at the church of bloody, precious blood and guts of Our Lady, of Jesus's mother, Catholic school for boys. They would do that sort of thing. And, well, anyway, people banging on pots and pans, fucking, throwing their illegitimate children into the bonfire, and it's keeping the demons away, because the demons will come in on the cold wind and like take away Annabelle Lee and like ruin this year's crop because it's harvest time, right? And they got a harvest because a cold hard winter is coming around, and they don't have fucking houses. They just sit outside and they don't have rocks anymore because all they got is gravel, because they banged all the rocks together because they got bored. And, that's how Halloween started, to keep the demons away so they could keep the crop together. And, demons come like knock shingles off the houses for people who did figure out you could have one of those things. I'm talking about a house. You could have one of those. So they built those things and, put shingles on the top for the roof. But the demons would come around and knock the shingles off and be generally mischievous. And so, the people would, have a rager to scare the demons off. And that's how Halloween started. There's a history lesson for you. Speaking of history, after I left Bristol, I moved to America, to the United States, which is it's pretty new. It was the colonies across the pond, because I'm old time Englishy. But, I went there and, I moved around a bit, and I ended up stopping in this little town called Bernardsville in this place called New Jersey. It's in the central part of the state. Real beautiful area. I say that unsarcastically. A lot of people think that New Jersey is just like Jersey City or North Bergen or Newark. No, mate. You go to the heart. It's called the Garden State for good reason, man. It's really beautiful there, and people are actually pretty fucking nice. Well, anyway, when I lived in this town called Bernardsville, there was this old building that was around in the 1700s, right? And supposedly, that's the story, is it was just this house in the woods or whatever. And, George Washington and some of his men came there at winter or something. I always pictured there's snow and footprints, and they leave a crimson trail behind them because they've been getting their asses kicked in a battle or something. And it's cold, and the British are well, we are quite cold. Well, that's not really what British sound like. Yes, we are quite cold. It is time for us to retire to our warmed ships. And so the battle stopped because it's too cold to be outside. But, Washington and his boys are stuck outside, and they're out of provisions. They're poor. They ain't got fucking shoes or nothing. And so they stop. They come across this house in the woods, right? And there's a young man and woman there, and they bring him in. They're like, yo, you need to rest. We got food, and we can tear up my wedding dress I'm not going to use. We can make bandages out of that for you. And they're like, that's cool. Thanks, mate. And so they did that, and they're stuck around, and then they left. And years later, when I moved to Bernardsville, New Jersey, that house, that building was turned into the local library, and it's haunted because that young couple, later, the village around whatever, Bernardsville, whatever, the man got caught, I guess, some people said, you're a traitor, mate, and we're gonna kill you now. And so they did that. They, built a gallows behind the house, and they hanged the man. And just so you know, English lesson here, grammar, when you talk about, hanging somebody, you're going to hang someone like a hangman, you put a noose around their neck and hang them. If you're talking about that verb in the past tense, it's not hung. You don't say he or she was hung. I mean, some people, actually a lot of people do say that. So-and-so was hung. No, hung refers to the length of your wit, so to speak. But if you're getting hanged, if someone hangs you, the past tense is hanged. You don't say, so-and-so was hung. No, you say so-and-so was hanged because it's called a hanging. It's a proper sort of thing. It's just so you know. So the dude was hanged behind the house, And the woman saw it, and she was like, I can't live without this guy. I'm going to kill myself now. So she slit her own throat and bled out and died there. And there was rumor, like there was a lot of really good ghost stories around that area, because it was like old, like lots of like European history and shit. So, you know, there's like some good, you know, Gothic style ghost stories around these old buildings that can look creepy under a certain type of light. And, you know, there's rumor that if you like go up in the back of that library building, which is that same house that she lived and died in, if you like go up there at night, like in the back, and you go up, you can hear her screaming, like screaming for her lost lover. And like I was always freaked out by that because I was like a little kid at the time. And a friend of mine said that one time he went up there like close to closing, like it was rather late in the day, I suppose. I don't remember how long that library stayed open in the day, but you know, it was dark, and that kid said he was there. He was like an acquaintance of mine, and he was like, yeah, mate, I went there and I heard the scream. It chilled me to the bone. My marrow froze. My blood prickled. I was scared. And I was like, that's fucking scary, mate. I'm going to tell my mom about that tonight. So like that night, I went and told my mom about the story. And I said, sometimes at night, you can hear it screaming. And she was like cooking dinner. As she stops whatever she's doing, she turns to me, she looks, and she says, you mean like this? And did this like blood-curdling witch scream, and it scared the bejesus out of me. I ran up to my room screaming, completely freaked out. And yeah, so that's like one of the stories. And you know, there's like the Headless Horseman, like you know about that, right? Like the dude, like he's a horse, man, and like he doesn't have a head. Well, I think I'm done. Yeah. Oh, happy Halloween. I hope you enjoyed this movie. Not a movie. I mean this like podcast. Oh my God, I'm losing the accent. Thank you. This has been one hell of an experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Halloween. I'll see you next week. Bye.